dokie.
Yep. Okay, I'm recording. Let me know when everyone's ready.
Yep, I'm ready whenever.
Okay, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and then on go, everybody clap. Okay.
Okie dokie.
1, 2, 3. I didn't hear it. I'm gonna assume everyone did it.
Well, no, I didn't do anything because
I was waiting for you to say clap.
Yeah.
No,
like
I
rock,
said on
paper,
go.
scissors,
You
shoot.
clap.
Yeah, you said on go. I didn't hear go. So
Yeah.
Well, because go is clap.
No.
Jesus.
What?
1, 2, 3, go.
there we
You're
go.
supposed to do it at the time that I say it anyway, so it shouldn't have mattered
get it.
if I said it or not.
You didn't say go. You just said 3, like 3, 2, 1. There's no
Yeah,
go in
because
that.
the next beat would have been when you would do it anyway. So, like, if you were doing it properly, you would have clapped and
Oh
then
my
noticed I
God.
didn't say anything.
Also, my Audacity
I
is
don't-
working now, it looks like, so that's cool.
Hey, that's good.
Don't ask me
Okay,
why,
well-
it just does.
We're off to a strong start. Welcome everybody. This is it's GameBusters. We're back after
Season 2 opening.
Season 2 opening, and Ree, I think that I see here on the outline that you're still living in the past over here.
Am I now?
Yeah, you've created an entry for the Hall of Fame Luster after we destroyed it.
Well, I thought just in case you felt like bringing it back, there's an option there. You know, I'm
All right.
sentimental. I'm holding
More
on to
murder
the
and
past.
mayhem?
More.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna be doing some murder and mayhem actually, but in a sort of a different way.
Ooh, branching out.
So yeah, so if you're new here, I am Nirav, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Ree.
Howdy.
This time coming to us from Ireland. Give us your best Irish accent, Ree.
I don't want to. My boyfriend might hear, and he's making dinner, so I don't want to like offend him.
You think he'll poison you if you do it too bad?
Yeah, I mean he does like Ireland, so.
All right, and we are joined by Bree
Hello?
as a guest. Yeah. And so Bree, can you do your Irish accent?
Oh no. I think a British person has more right to an Irish accent than myself.
I think they have the least
I would
rights
argue
of
the
anything.
opposite is true.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, so top of the morning to you. That's what we can start with that.
Yes.
There you go.
So yeah, like as I said, we're into season 2 now, and the reason for the branding change is that I kind of wanted to move us on to some new opening and closing segments. And so the middle part, you know, where we talk about the games is going to be pretty much the same. But yeah, we're going to be heading into the it's time for Dungeon Busters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. So, so I'm going to be utilizing this game Super Fight, which we used in our last thing to do the Battle Royale competition. However, there is a dungeon deck here where it creates rooms of a dungeon as you go through it, and we just try to see if you guys can survive with the characters and powers that I'm going to draw for you here.
Okay.
So you basically have to just reason your way through this and explain why you can make it through this X or Y room.
Okay.
So I'm going to give each of you a character from the deck here. Bree, you are Medusa.
Ooh, okay. I can work with this.
That's a good character.
I feel like I'm overpowered already.
And then, yeah, probably. All right, and then a shuffle a bit. Ree, so tell me if you can do this one. You are Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got
Yeah.
a range going on here then. This is
Right.
some variety.
And I'm going to give each of you a power, a special power here. So, Bree, you are Medusa, but you are also a believer, and you are convinced the opponent means bodily harm to Justin Bieber.
Oh
I
no.
think that makes her more powerful of anything.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, some of these are good, and some are not good. And then Moriarty, everything you touch turns to hummus. That's your
Oh,
power.
I would like that personally.
You think that you wouldn't get sick of the hummus?
It would take a lot of hummus for me to get sick, so that would sort me out for at least like 2 years, and beyond
All
that,
right.
I might get a bit annoyed.
So I have three dungeon rooms here in a row, and you're gonna tell me. I'm gonna describe what's in that dungeon. You're gonna tell me how you get across it with your individual character and powers.
Okay.
So the first one, we're entering into a hallway guarded by 2 statues that shoot lasers at whoever is the biggest jerk.
Okay.
Which one of you is the bigger jerk?
Moriarty.
I would, yeah, Moriarty, definitely.
Probably. All right. How are you gonna avoid getting lasered?
Shit, I mean, I assume to turn something into hummus, it needs to be, like, a solid, and I don't think lasers are solid.
That they're just light, and light is both a wave and a photon is technically a type of subatomic particle.
Well, then we're just gonna have to chance it, and he's gonna have to stand right there with his hand out, ready to try and turn it into hummus. That's our only way out of this. I don't think his reaction times are particularly good.
Okay, fair enough. Bree, do you have any? I don't think you have anything to offer here since these are already statues.
They're already statues. I'm out of my league.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say that you were able to make it through. You were able to use the laser to turn the laser into hummus, and then like a chain reaction all the way back to the statue. Hummus to right up.
Okay, cool. I'm happy with that.
All right, the next room is a trash room with walls that slowly move inwards until everything inside is crushed.
Oh, we're going with Star Wars now. Okay.
Again, hummus up them walls.
Just gonna turn the walls to hummus.
Guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Medusa, you're not really pulling your weight. Justin Bieber would be really.
Yeah,
really,
I'm just gonna say like the
in
little
you.
snakes on like my hair can just like eat through the hummus, and that's how we make our way through.
Sure.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Snakes historically love hummus.
They do.
In the final room, we have a large pool with a single gigantic shark swimming in it.
Ooh, so this could go 50-50 for me, I think, because like I could jump on it and turn it into hummus, but like it could get me first. So we are sort of leaving that up to the powers that be, which in this case
Medusa,
is
you are a believer, and this shark means Justin Bieber bodily harm.
I will leap straight into that pool and stare that shark into its soul as it turns to stone.
Okay, nice, good work. And then we're gonna fight the boss here. Let's see here. It's Shredder. Okay, it's Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and his special ability is that he is armed with dynamite.
Ooh.
Okay, tell me how you're gonna take this boy on.
Oh, dynamite. I mean, if he throws dynamite, I'm relying on Moriarty to catch it.
Well,
and turn it to
I don't
hummus.
think I can do a lot here because, I mean, if it lands in my feet and I don't get to it in time, then I can't hummus it up. And he's got projectiles, so I don't think I can get to him first. I think this is where I've met my match. I think it's got to be a Medusa job, really.
Long range attacks are pretty hard for you to fight.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I just need to like do something crazy to get his attention, I guess. So he can look at me.
Okay. Then do something crazy.
I'm gonna start singing 2008 version of Baby by Justin Bieber with the snakes harmonizing.
Oh yeah, I was like, what is this? Oh, that's a song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the snakes love it. And you know what? Shredder loves it too.
That's good.
He's a believer as well.
Oh man, no, I'm on his side.
Oh wow, Ree, I think you might have to fight two bosses now.
Oh no, I don't think I'm
Jesus.
really that good against either of these. I'm good when the threats are up close and not sentient, but as soon as they're sentient, it's sort of just not my area.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna say, do you think that was a successful dungeon run? I don't know. I think we got a little.
We made it through.
I think we had a little trouble fight. You think so? All right. I'm gonna say that you befriended the boss. Maybe Shredder's joined the team. I don't know.
Yeah. Why not? That's wholesome.
Can't say for sure. But you guys make it out. Congratulations. I'm gonna say that who was, I think Bree, I think you were the victor here. You kind of dealt the final blow, so you'll get you'll get the last words on the show today. For pulling us out of this horrible place with the big shark.
Got it.
And there's so much.
There's a lot of hummus.
I feel like you're not remembering like the consistency of hummus properly. I feel like I feel like you're writing it off. It can get really gross in there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right. Well, I guess we'll ahead and jump forward to our main segment today, which is Bustoms. We should all be ready because this time, like I said, we're gonna have twice the podcast, twice the. What else?
We
do
had
we,
twice the
what else do we offer
something,
here?
and it was not something that we're known for. And I
Right.
forget what it was.
Twice the professionalism.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Ria's going to be leading us on a journey through Dragon Age 2 today.
I am indeed, yeah.
I have played approximately 27 minutes of Dragon Age 2.
And some would argue that's all you need. I'm personally
Okay.
a fan of Dragon Age 2. I vibe with it.
Sure.
Before we jump in, Brie, I know you're into Dragon Age. Like, what's your overall views on Dragon Age 2?
I think it's definitely the weakest link, in my opinion, of the three that there are. But I think it just really depends on the person because Dragon Age, Origin, and Inquisition are both more, bigger world and like a very just like linear timeline. When this one is very different and that has like time skips and it's really focused on one location, which I think can be a lot of fun, but it really just depends on like the person's play style and what they enjoy out of a game.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. It's just so different to the other games out there. And yeah, and when I looked at its development, it's like, Christ, yeah, that's why it's so different. So the reason we're talking about today is because David Gator did a tweet thread on Twitter where he spoke about what he'd do if he got to remake Dragon Age 2. That's because, as he said, it's the one that he regrets the most. And let's take you through why the writing team would feel like they regret it so bad.
Can I just like say quickly, like I knew this was gonna fucking happen the second they said that they were like actually doing the Snyder cut. Like people are fucking like up in arms about like give us the Snyder cut of Dragon Age 2. What are you talking about? That's where this came from.
That's the annoying thing. It's like, no, what you're asking for is a remake. Like,
yes,
you want a remake. You don't want a Snyder cut. And please don't, because actually, I think I said this before we started recording. I tried to watch the Snyder cut last night. Emphasis on tried. Please don't Snyder cut-ify Dragon Age. It would not be good. Yeah, so anyway, we've spoken about Dragon Age Inquisition before. I guess we're just going to do the series backwards, but we'll start our journey this time with the release of Dragon Age Origins. It was released in 2009. It was part of BioWare's effort to sort of rebrand their like RPGs to be more consumer friendly. So in this case, they were trying to take Baldur's Gate and sort of make it have mass market appeal rather than just like RPG nerds like me. And it did well. It was a critical and commercial success back in 2009. But unfortunately for BioWare, it didn't reach the heights of that Mass Effect had set for their like 3D RPGs. One of the criticisms was that it was a bit of a generic hero adventure story, whereas Mass Effect was very unique and personal in that you followed the story of Shepard very personally like with the companions that you had. It still obviously allowed for some role playing, but you had a named protagonist who I think people just got really attached to. So because of that, the aim for Dragon Age 2 was to sort of capture that Mass Effect magic. The development of Dragon Age 2 began while they were still doing DLC and expansions for Origins. They were actually, I believe, doing the Awakening expansion, which was pretty big, while they started Dragon Age 2. And this is where there's the first big problem, which that's going to be the theme of today's episode, is EA poking in. Ooh. And kind of messing things up a whole lot. So
in my mind, like when EA pokes their head into the office, into the studio here at BioWare, it's like a big like dragon like poking its head into the door. Like, what you guys working on?
Nothing. They just quickly like hide all their notes. Like
nothing. Just please don't close us down.
Oh.
So this was after Mass Effect 1 had come out only?
Yeah,
they were working on Dragon Age 2?
Part of BioWare at this point is working on Mass Effect 2. So they're working on Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age Origins expansions, and now they've been told you have to do a sequel as soon as possible because they're scared that people will forget about the series. So there's a lot
Like how they have to make a Spider-Man movie every 6
yeah,
months.
obviously.
Yes.
So they have their hands full. For some reason, EA gave them 14 months to make the game, but considering they were so, I suppose, wrapped up with these other projects, sources speaking now to journalists are saying that it was actually closer to 9 months in terms of like real production time.
What?
Yeah.
That's like real production time for a human.
it's if you look at it, it's a miracle that game boots up because it's actually really solid, I think, in terms of bugs. I don't experience many. And to think they managed to throw that together in 9 months, I dread to think of the crunch that must have gone into it. Oh, and to make matters worse, Dragon Age 2 that we got wasn't even intended to be a sequel. It was actually just an expansion they were working on when they were told they had to do a sequel. So they turned it into a sequel. The whole reason why it got changed last minute is because EA decided to again swing by and go, yeah, we don't like expansions now. So you've got to make it a sequel if you want to keep working on it. So, long-time Bioware writer David Gator had to get together 5 other writers to start penning the story. They were confident that they could make this more personal, like Commander Shepard approach work, and wrote the player character of Hawk. The story would revolve around them and their family as they travel to a new country as a refugee. So recently, Gator has revealed that the final story in the game was actually the first ever draft they did. They didn't have the time to redraft. They just had to be very confident that the first thing they came up with would be the best. Just to sort of put that into context, Origins saw a total development of 6 years, if you include the story. The initial 3 were actually just for the story, and the first draft didn't even mention the Grey Wardens, which are arguably the biggest faction in the game. So
a little important.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine Origins without the Grey Wardens or the Darkspawn, actually.
Oh, I can't even imagine it.
So so that's how important the drafting process is. Dragon Age 2 is completely different from its predecessor. In the original game, you picked from 6 backstories, and in Inquisition, you do actually pick from like backstories as well, to craft your character to be completely unique, sort of like D&D inspired, like Baldur's Gate. The story took place over about a year or so with no time skips, whereas in Dragon Age 2, the story spans, I think, 8 years, and the player character Hawk can only be a human. The game is split into 3 acts, and the time skips, which range from like I think a year to 3 years, happen between each act. So as I'm sure you can gather, this was completely different to Dragon Age Origins and completely different to what would later be Dragon Age Inquisition. I guess, Brig, since you're into Dragon Age as well, I think we talked about this last time on the Inquisition episode. What do you prefer, like having a set character like Hawk, or one like the Warden or the Inquisitor where you can have more of a role in shaping them?
I prefer a more like open-ended character I can put myself into. I think I really enjoy like role playing. Like I love D&D and such, so I love the idea that I'm actually putting input. And I think character customization and such does help with that, or just being able to pick like, oh, I'm gonna be an elf, a human, or a dwarf, and things along those lines. I do think that was one of like the bigger fallings of Dragon Age 2, because I feel like I'm making choices for a character, but it's not as impactful as it was in Origins.
Yeah.
I think you guys should check in the Discord quickly of the screen cap I've taken here.
Let's see. Okay, you've played exactly 4 minutes of Dragon Age 2. You were really rounding up when you said 25. Christ.
I thought it was okay. I actually got out and like was in the tutorial. That was definitely longer than 4 minutes, right? Like,
I mean, you can do a tutorial in like 5 minutes, I think.
I don't know. I did some running and jumping and stuff.
You can't jump.
Yeah.
You hacked the game. You broke it.
You can't jump in this game? Whatever, man. I'm glad I gave up on it 4 minutes in.
Yeah, only the Inquisitor learned how to jump.
Yeah, but not very well.
Oh, it's like sort of a Zelda situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Link learns to jump after 25 years of training.
Exactly.
I guess to like get back to Hawk quickly, you can see how they sort of tried to throw some role playing stuff in there. Like you have the conversation wheel from Mass Effect. You can make some choices in the quest. Obviously, you can decide what faction to get with at the end. Bree, how do you like feel about your Hawk? Like, do you feel like it's your Hawk? Do you like sort of have fond memories of that character, or do you just kind of feel like it was the same as everyone else's Hawk?
Yeah, I'm not too attached to my Hawk because I do feel like it's just like one in the bunch. I'm honestly so much more attached to the side characters, which I think they did a much better job on. And
Oh
I'm
God,
far more
yeah.
invested in like the companions than I am in the main
Do
character.
you, do you think they were like kind of trying to replicate like the success of a Commander Shepard with this
They
character?
totally were, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, they gave you
Yeah.
give you a cool surname. They're like, there you go, cool. You're gonna like this character now. And for some reason, like Hawk just I don't think really resonates with in the same
I'm
way.
Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite Hawk on the Citadel.
I don't know what it is actually. Like everyone loves their Shepherd, but barely anyone ever talks about their Hawk. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know where they went wrong there.
Did this game like sell particularly well?
Yeah,
Out
it
of
sold
curiosity?
pretty well at the time. But in terms of like lifetime sales, in the end, Origins beat it again. So I guess it just,
Really?
it just didn't
Interesting.
have the staying power. I guess it did well enough at the time. Even the reviews at the time aren't that bad. But sort of in retrospect,
I actually,
yeah.
when I was installing this, I looked at like the mod situation for them too. Like Origin still has a like somewhat active modding scene. Like people are still making new stuff for it, and Dragon Age 2 seems like it's been dead for many
Yeah,
years.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe it.
So yeah, I guess to continue the development, 2 had a very different feel. So in 2, the biggest departure was that now the entire game is set in one city, as opposed to Origins being set in one entire country. This is an approach that I personally feel could have worked. It just wasn't pulled off particularly well here. So you start in Ferelden, the country from the first game, and then you escape as a refugee during the Blight, which is happening in the first game, and you end up in the city of Kirkwall, where you're going to spend 8 in-game years there. It's larger than the cities.
And 8 real life years.
It's larger than the cities in Origins, I think I'm right in saying. Yeah, but it's just not very...
Yeah.
It's not very varied. There's like notoriously one dungeon design. So there's multiple dungeons in the game, but they all just use the same design. Just like some will have like some paths cut off, if that makes sense, or maybe they'll mirror it
Interesting.
occasionally. This was a workaround for like the really ridiculously short development time. They just did not have the time to design anything else. So like textures get reused all the time, assets continuously reused. So that's sort of what I think people remember when it comes to this game.
So, I think I might have forgotten. Did you say, is this the same like director that did Dragon Age
It's
Origins?
the same writing team, yeah,
Same writing team?
but they were just sort of told to do the impossible.
Right.
But yeah, so as Hawk, you have to navigate through personal and political dramas brewing in the city of Kirkwall, and because it's over such amount of time, they cover a lot of ground. Whereas with Origins, you're sort of just focused on the Blight and like obviously a bit of politics there with whoever you want to put on the throne at the end. But with 2, you focus on a lot of issues. So initially, you're focusing on like being this broke refugee trying to make a name for yourself in the city. Then we suddenly jump to there's some conflict with the Kunari, who are a race that have crash landed in Kirkwall, and they're not getting on with people very well. And then suddenly we jump forward 3 years, and it's all about the Mage and Templar conflict, which feels like it's meant to be the main story in the game, but is sort of just dealt with in the final, I'm going to say, like 8 hours. But, I mean, as Bree said earlier, like, the thing that I think people like about this game is the characters. The companions come out of this quite strong. So, it's hard to... The companions feel like... You can really tell that because I think they were already doing a bit of the story before development of the game began, and it really shows because you've got some really solid companions. I think Isabella's one of the most loved. She's this pirate who ship crashes in Kirkwall, and you hang out with her for 8 years. You have Fenris, who's an escaped slave. You have Anders, who fights for mage rights, and I personally feel like you meet them quite fluidly, and you believe that they're just hanging around in the city for 8 years, and like they're there whenever you want missions done. And one thing the game does really well is that the companions and their like backstories are linked with the politics in Kirkwall. So, for example, Anders is fighting for mage rights the whole time, and mages are really ridiculously persecuted in Kirkwall. And like Isabella's like wrapped up with the Canary conflict. So, the best when the game's at its best is when you do occasionally get a role-playing decision, and you have to navigate through these political conflicts through the dialogue or through choices. And overall, that seems to be the legacy of Dragon Age. It's a story that was kind of poorly told. Well, no, it was a good story, poorly told through the gameplay. Because another controversy was that they really, really simplified the combat. It's not like super simplified, but it's definitely not as convoluted as it was in Origins.
Was it convoluted, or was it like layered in a good way?
Depends on who you ask. I say convoluted because it's a lot to take on board if you're coming from BioWare's other games. I personally really love it, but you do have to take the time to get to really love it. And I do not blame anyone that looks at that and goes, no, thank you. Yeah. I mean, Bree, you said that you like the companions. So who's your favorite?
Not to jump on the train, but probably Fenris. I think his background is extremely cool. Like they bring in like the Deventer slavery and like being in a place where like mages are like subjugated, like Reset and Kirkwall, like the mages don't have a good life, and Fenris comes from a place where like mages rule everything, but it's such a bad situation there for because the mages are essentially using people, and like Fenris is like forced to be essentially like a mage battery essentially because he has so much magic in him because of like lyrium. And so it just kind of brings in like more complexities to like there's not just like one good side, one bad side. There's a lot of different layers, and all these different factions have a lot of things going on. And so I think as a character, he does a really good job of tying all those different things together, and it makes me more invested in the story and like the world as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. And I think one of the strengths of Dragon Age 2 was that they realized just how limited they were going to be with the gameplay. So I think the writing really has to hold it up, and it makes the world feel so much bigger when they were so limited. So, like, through Fenris, you find out about Tevinter, which was, I believe, we don't learn loads about Tevinter in the first game. And Tevinter, and we're only actually going to visit Tevinter now in Dragon Age 4. And it's like nothing else in the world because, mages are on top there, whereas everywhere else they're not. In Kirkwall, they're probably close to the bottom, if not the bottom. And he's an elf as well, and elves are pretty damn close to the bottom. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, he gets really like the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Fenris. Yeah, and that's interesting seeing him navigate this world so different. Isabella's like experienced so much of the world, so you experience it through her stories. You've got Meryl, who's a Dalish elf, who sort of explains that, and it's basically the companion's job is just to make up for the lack of areas that you can explore. And I think when the game's at its best is when you're just doing their personal quests. I really like their personal quests. I mean, Anders is my favorite, and I really love his like descent into just becoming so obsessed with mage rights. I think that's actually told fairly well. He's actually a companion that you meet in the Dragon Age Origins expansion, where he's like this fairly chill Grey Warden, and it's really interesting how they took him and just got him. He moved him to Kirkwall, and just seeing how ridiculously abused the mages were just made him completely descend into, I guess, madness at the end. And I really like the villain as well. I thought Meredith was a cool villain. It's a shame that she's only really the villain for the final 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, she's not really there.
Yeah.
As long as she could have been.
That was such a waste potential. She would have been.
Ugh.
She could have held up the whole game as the villain, but like I said, the game's in
I
3
know.
acts, and she's only the villain in the 3rd act, and only for some of that. And I can see what David Gator was saying when this is like the ultimate, I forget his exact wording, but he called it like just the game of regrets, basically. And I can see it as a writing team.
Right, well, because there's so many good elements. It's just, if they would have just done things slightly differently, it could have been so much better than it was. And also if they didn't have like a 14-month time crunch, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel
yeah.
like Oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, I just got excited because I have something to add. I saw on Twitter there is an article that literally just now, it says why RPGs are best when they're built around a single massive city, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Okay.
And I went into it and I did a search, and then halfway down it says, of course there have been attempts at RPGs set around a single city before. Dragon Age 2's energetic haters and fans have been furiously skimming this article waiting for mention of it.
You know what, I would consider myself overall a Dragon Age 2 fan, but I don't get the people that will rag on the people that didn't like it. It's perfectly reasonable why people don't like it. I adore Dragon Age 2 in its own way. If I just sort of accept it for what it is, even if you sort of play it as a Dragon Age Origins expansion, it's actually not that bad. But I can totally understand that the fans that waited since Origins for a sequel and then got this, it must have been really disappointing, especially because when I played it, I knew Inquisition was next and that I could go back to having multiple Origins and stuff. But if you thought this,
so is
oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, is the combat in this game more similar to Origins or more to Inquisition?
I would say it's about 50-50 actually. I'd say it's definitely toned down, but it's not toned down to the extent, because I think Inquisition was pretty toned down in terms of complex RPG stuff.
Because I've played, the only one I've played a good bit of is Inquisition, but the one that one I remember has that top down thing. You can pause the battle sort of and move around and make it turn based.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do tactics.
Yeah, a tactics view. Is that something in here or no?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you can pause the game and put inputs in, but I don't think it's as, if I can remember correctly from what it was like in Inquisition, they made it this whole thing, but it was literally just sort of pausing, selecting an attack, playing, and then pausing. But yeah, there's still a good tactical element to it sometimes. I really just there's the whole thing about the single city setting. It really could have worked so well, I think. As David Gator said, it shouldn't have taken a course over 8 years, because it was just sort of a bit silly that loads would happen and then the game would just skip 3 years later, and it sort of just took you out of it, and it was, I guess, a bit hard to warm up to the companions on my first playthrough because of that. And this is sort of leading.
So sorry, I
no,
have to keep
don't worry.
interrupting. I'm sorry. One interesting comparison that might be worth drawing is that this same thing kind of happened to Zelda, and went the complete opposite direction in that Ocarina of Time was wildly successful and Nintendo was hungry for money. Whoa, what else is new? And they said, because that came out in the holiday season, and they said, okay, have the next game ready by next holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically had 9 months or 9 to 10 months to make an entirely new Zelda game, and that forced timeline there actually created something more. I think created something better in the process, because what they were forced to reuse literally everything in the game but in a new way, and it led them to the idea of okay, Link is he like dies, then is trapped in like a purgatory built off of like bastardized versions of all the things he saw before, etc., etc., and gets like very wacky, you know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not blaming the devs for like not rising to the occasion. I'm just interested that like in one instance like Majora's Mask was super successful, and in this instance like looks like it didn't go as well.
That's actually a really interesting comparison. I think maybe if they were allowed to reuse assets from Origins, maybe it could have been that sort of situation. Because
so they weren't allowed to
no,
reuse
they
assets?
if I'm thinking right, I mean, because the game looks completely different to Origins, so they clearly changed a lot from it. They reuse assets.
EA wanted new shiny
exactly.
dragons.
It's like bloody EA can't make up their mind what they want Dragon Age to look like, because then notoriously with Inquisition they were like, it has to be in the Frostbite engine even though it is not made for RPGs. And I think maybe if they got to reuse a whole bunch from Origins, then I'm sure it probably, because you cannot deny like the passion behind the story. That's the thing that annoys me with 2, and that's why I love it in its own way, is because you can really tell the writing team had a really interesting story to tell with Hawk. They had a really interesting story to tell with the Qunari, with the Mage Templar War, but they were just constrained. I'm not sure with Nintendo. I don't know what it is, because they're just such an anomaly in the gaming industry. It's hard to compare anything to them. They seem to just sort of break all the conventions. So yeah,
sure.
like so many of their games should have been bad, but they're really good.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how they operate. So I feel like we could have got a Majora's Mask situation if just EA were a teeny tiny bit more understanding. And I don't know, maybe it probably should have been, in hindsight, it should have been an Origins expansion, or it should have been like a minor game rather than a full-fledged sequel. Which, I mean, how would you consider Majora's Mask? Because I know that was also meant to be an Ocarina of Time expansion, but it ended up being its own game.
No. Yeah, like they actually did. There's a different Ocarina of Time expansion, the Master Quest one that they released. And this was intended like to be a sequel, but they like Nintendo literally walked in and told them, you have 10 months to make and like release a full sequel to this game.
Jesus Christ.
And so like that was on their end. They were like, if we reuse all the assets and all the characters and stuff, and like all the fucking like buildings and everything that we've made, like we can just remix it basically into a new game, and that's what they ended up doing. So that's why like all the characters are people you've met before, but they're all people who like have slightly different names, who like don't remember you and stuff like that.
I guess it's because like I don't know too much about the development. It sounds like they were very coordinated and like, this is going to be a remix of Ocarina of Time essentially, whereas the prevailing thing at Bioware was, this has to be a full-fledged sequel, it has to be its own story, and it has to be Mass Effect. And I think that's probably the other thing. Majora's Mask is comfortable being a Zelda game, whereas I guess Dragon Age 2 kind of wanted to be a Mass Effect game.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
I guess like to sort of bring it to present day, Inquisition just decided to EA saw that there was nothing to salvage from 2, which I think is completely wrong. I thought 2 had a lot of potential and is actually a pretty good game. But for whatever reason, they decided to make Inquisition completely different. The game takes place across 2 entire countries and is an open world game. Just everything feels different about Inquisition, basically. Do you think this is the right decision? I guess.
Whoa. Sorry, I just wanted to open this up and take a look at like who was running the Majora's Mask development. So it was the Dream Team, baby. This was it was actually led in 3 parts by Eiji Aonuma, who has been directing the Zelda games since then. This is where he started, and then Shigeru Miyamoto. This was the last Zelda he worked on, and Yoshiaki Koizumi, who has been directing the Mario games since Mario 64.
Well, there you go. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with Dragon Age 4, I guess Brie is I keep throwing it to you, but you're my fellow Dragon Age nerd here. So with 4, there's been some talk that could return to the single city setting, because we're going to Tevinter, and I guess the only city we really know about is Minrathos. That's it.
Minrathos.
And yeah, do you think that's something they should explore again? Like now that they've had the time?
I think I think this is one of those situations where it could work. I think if they do it well, because everything that happened in Inquisition, everything is going to be completely centered around Minrathous anyway. So I think if they try to make it open world, it could get iffy where they're just trying to like throw in a bunch of random side quests, which I think Inquisition did run into the issue quite a bit. So I
Yeah.
think a single city could definitely work because a lot's going to go down in Minrathous, or at least it should.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, because obviously the story. I mean, you're gonna be focusing on. I don't want to spoil. I don't know. This is a Dragon Age 2 podcast.
Yeah, this is spoiler. Is it too
There's spoil
early?
Inquisition, but like it's very focused on one person.
Spoilers for this fucking ancient ass game.
It's. I'm fine with spoiling Dragon Age 2. It's just Inquisition, I guess. This is not an Inquisition podcast.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
but
fine.
it's Dragon Age 4 is going to be focused.
That game's 7 years
Is
old.
it? Oh my god.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
Yeah.
I feel
Oh my
old.
god.
Oh god.
Okay.
I got that. That's like one of the few games I actually got at launch as well. So now I feel really old. But yeah, Dragon Age 4 is going to be centered around one person in particular, and I guess in that regard, it definitely could be a single city setting. That's a really hard thing to say fast. And I really hope they sort of give that another look. I'm guessing EA doesn't want them to because EA doesn't
Probably
like,
not.
I guess.
They're probably just going to do Tevinter as a whole.
Yeah, they probably are because they want their
Honestly.
big flashy open world to show off at E3 or
Mhm.
something, if E3 even exists.
Is the bald one gonna be
The
back?
bald one is
I liked
indeed
him.
back.
Alright.
I can confirm.
Uh,
I hope you.
I'm trying to remember any of the characters. I know the bald one.
But, that's your question,
and
actually.
then-
Name Dragon Age characters. Come on.
Sure. Then there's Buff Girl.
Yeah?
She is like a knight or warrior thing, and she does like tank things.
Okay.
And then there's who's that fucking annoying girl? I hated her. Wanted to punch
is
her.
that Sarah?
Sarah?
Probably.
Are
Yeah.
you not a fan?
Yeah. I was like, this woman would walk into like a Target and ask for the manager immediately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
She would.
Yeah, she would.
Oh my god. Anyway, no, I don't remember a lot. I played like 15 hours of that game. You should remember their names.
Actually, I was going to ask you, like, just based on the discussion, because I think Dragon Age is a very unique franchise in that it's basically just been given a soft reboot of every bloody entry they've done.
Every entry, yeah, I noticed that.
So, like, what's your perception of it as an outsider?
I think that it is a game where people who are very passionate about it, but also don't quite know what they want from it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You summed it up. It's
There's like, I mean, there's not other, I don't know, there's other things where like each game is like, you know, wildly different from the last, but like this one is like, I don't know, I've heard people be like very passionate about one over the other, and then like even, I don't know, like I've never even opened Origins before. Like I'll probably at least give it 4 minutes sometime, but
Maybe 5.
I would like
I'll
I
give
would
it
die
5.
for Origins, so like to hear that it's like having my heart ripped open. I hate that. That's the thing. Like everyone
I
has
haven't-
like the one game they'll defend to the death.
No, I didn't say, like I've literally never even opened Origins, so like I'll eventually try it one day and see what's going on in there. But yeah, like I don't know, that's my perception is just like I feel like people are very, it's weird. Okay, this is what I'll say. Like I've always gotten the impression that like Dragon Age is like a much smaller affair than Mass Effect, just like sales wise, fan wise, etc. But like the Dragon Age people seem like so much louder, and
I would agree.
like it feels like there's more fans of that, even though the sales would sort of disagree with that.
That's
you know
so
what I mean?
accurate. that's really accurate. It's just it's sometimes it almost reminds me of being a Sonic fan in that it's just like once you like it, it's like you're obligated.
Also,
You're
Dragon
like,
Age Inquisition Game of the Year 2014.
I don't know how that happened. That feels like a fluke that it got like big attention like that.
You think Keely like added the numbers wrong and just like realized 40 minutes later, like,
Yeah,
like
no.
it just feels so surreal. Like I forget that other people know Dragon Age exists. You know, it just feels like this weird little game that I found.
I want to say Inquisition sold
It
really
did.
well, actually.
It
Hold
sold
on.
It did
really
great.
well. It just like the first time I guess it got like this mass market appeal that they really wanted.
I think when did Witcher 3 come out?
2015, next year.
That's
Okay.
why.
Yeah, I
It
think-
didn't have The Witcher to contend with.
It didn't have The Witcher to contend
Pro-
with, and I think I don't know. I think a lot of people were very interested in that type of like fantasy role-playing game was like super super popular. Yeah, I think people just really wanted a game like that.
I remember all like the advertising was just focusing on how good it looked, and like yeah, that game it looks gorgeous when it wants to. That's held up really well. I think it's like the only game in the series to look good, which probably helped.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is true.
Dragon Age. So, I'm just taking a look here. Dragon Age Inquisition sold about 6 million copies. They said. It is BioWare's second best-selling game. Their best-selling one was Mass Effect 3.
That sounds so
7
weird.
million copies.
Like in my brain, it was just sort of like everything Mass Effect-y, even Andromeda, and then like Dragon Age just being like the awkward middle child. To
Andromeda sold 5 million copies. Mass Effect 2 sold about 5 million. Even Anthem sold 5 million copies, so I don't know. But
It's just consistent.
That's so weird, because
Yeah,
in my
that's what
head,
it is.
like, Dragon Age just feels like this weird stepkid that EA didn't really want when they took
Yeah.
on BioWare. They were like, hey, Mass Effect, oh, I guess Dragon Age has got to come too.
it's interesting because I don't know, like I guess maybe they were somewhat successful in like making it more like Mass Effect and like making Inquisition like have more like wide audience appeal.
Yeah, I think I don't even know how they did it. I'm not going to pretend I understand the series. I love it to bits, but I don't understand it.
I mean, that's the same thing that they did with that Bethesda did with Fallout. Like, they literally were like, you know, like they got the Fallout license, and then when making Fallout 3, they were like, let's just make this like Oblivion, but with a skin of Fallout, and to like create mass audience. Because like Fallout 1 and 2 famously sold horribly.
Yeah.
Like both of them were fucking like they bankrupted an entire company.
That's the thing I don't get is like, did Todd ever play the first two? Because
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we talked about this on our episode. He was a huge fan. He was like begging to get the Fallout license because he was like, remember we talked about this because he was like, legitimately, he was like, I can turn this into an action game and I can make it have wide audience
Todd had a
appeal.
vision.
That was his first.
Todd
thought.
had a vision.
He had a vision.
he played the game and was like, I want to make this completely different.
Yeah, that's right. And then he did, and he sold 500,000
That makes
million
me
copies.
sad.
And I mean, like, as much as a lot of people love these, like, those, like, CRPGs, like, Fallout 1 and 2, like, most people don't, and just never will.
Is this so
and,
good?
like, it's a niche genre, and I'm not saying it doesn't have value, but it is a niche genre.
No, you're
If
right.
like-
You're right. But I bloody love Fallout 2 so much. Can we do an episode of Fallout 2, please?
Yeah, we'll do one. I got, like, I spent, like, maybe 4 hours on that one. I don't know. I just, like, got through, like, I was just like hitting stuff, and I was like, "This combat sucks."
I love the
I hate
combat. Oh my
everything
god,
about
I
this.
adore the combat in both those games.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Do we have more things? I'm trying to find where we are in this outline.
You know, we've talked about Dragon Age 4. That's it. That's all Dragon Age is getting from us.
So when they first, please explain this to me. When they first announced Dragon Age 4 like 19 years ago
Yes.
at the Game Awards,
Yeah.
They didn't even put a title on it, and I didn't know it was a Dragon Age game. It just said The Dread Wolf Rises. What happened? What does that mean?
There's a dude called the Dreadwolf, and I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Spoiler
Playing
alert.
Position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who would have known that was a Dragon Age thing at all, they've already been spoiled. They've already seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
you
that
played
was-
the DLC for Inquisition, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this continuing the story of Inquisition?
Very
Dragon
much.
Age?
It's just going to be direct. It looks like very direct sequel.
Yeah, because the bald
Yeah,
one's
so like for
back.
the
Yeah.
first
Okay.
time in the series history, they're actually gonna like continue from where they left off.
Continuity.
Yeah, there's continuity this time.
Yeah.
Series first.
Maybe this is more of like a thing about like BioWare, I guess. But like I I very much get the feeling that EA is like, had that big dragon head is poking in the office again. And like, if Dragon Age 4 isn't like a legitimate like success, I don't think that BioWare is going to
Honestly,
survive.
no. If it's not an explosive success, then they're going.
Yeah, explosive
I think
success,
it has to be really good. It has to bring them back to like Mass Effect 2 sort of love, I think.
Yeah, like, which, I mean, I don't know. I know they're doing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition now to try to like buy back some goodwill. And like, I've seen some people are angry about how the art looks because like the lens flares and all the fucking. Well, you're a Mass Effect fan, right, Ree? Like, what? How do you feel about all that?
I think it looks okay. I think it's funny how they made one of the companions like tits really big. That's like sort of just screams like we're trying to get the fans back. Apart from that, like I'm really excited for the Legendary Edition. I think they need to sort of just go back to basics like that. And sort of remember when people like them and sort of build back
like
from that.
I think it's the most exciting thing about that Legendary Edition, which I'll get at some point this year for sure, is like that all of the 5,000 DLCs are included, and like you don't have to like hunt them down on individual stores and stuff.
That's such a bloody relief. I can remember because I played Mass Effect really like far after release. And I was trying to get all the DLC for 2, and the store was really bad, and it kept giving me the wrong one, which I already had, and I was like on the phone to EA technical support trying to get it, and I never got to play it, so I'm very excited.
Incredible. Yeah, so I hope your game's good.
Please buy it.
Will they finish it? I mean, that's the first question.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to do pretty well sales-wise, and that'll give them enough time to finish it. But, like, I wouldn't anticipate this coming until, like, late next year, probably would be when I would guess. Like fall, winter 2022. This has winter vibes to me. This has December vibes, this game. I'm going to say December 2022.
I mean, that's when they released Inquisition, right?
Yeah, it is actually.
Is it like a holiday?
Yeah. So I'm full on like believe for ages that Dragon Age 4 wasn't going to happen, and I believe that with good reason because they've cancelled that fucker twice already. So EA is very much rearing its ugly head in the office this time around. Somehow,
why don't they?
Here.
Well, I don't know. Like EA has gotten to that point where like even selling like 5 million units of an RPG, which is actually really really good, is like garbage for them because they're selling 50 million copies of Madden every year, you know?
Oh god, yeah, and think about the money they must make from FIFA, just like the Ultimate Team Pack money. Like they'll just scoff at like all this, like because Mass Effect and Dragon Age must cost like a lot to make, and you can't so easily put loot boxes in it.
I mean, RPGs cost like a shit ton to make, and they usually don't sell very well. So like they're like that's why these like giant AAA RPGs are like kind of like not as common. Like nobody makes games like Bethesda because nobody else can afford
exactly, yeah, and like they need the Microsoft money to do it now. So
yeah, like it's become so unsustainable that like literally Microsoft has to finance it for it to work anymore. Yeah, but I mean, I hope it's really cool. I'll probably dip back into Inquisition at some point. Like I do own it, like I said, and I didn't hate it. I just kind of got like bored. I was told that I finished like all the stuff in like the hinterlands area, and by the time I got to the next area, like I did like the stuff in the little like city square there. I did all that stuff, and then like I was just kind of burnt out, and I was like, I'll come back.
You gotta leave the hinterlands as quick as possible. You gotta get out.
Yeah,
it'll trap you for hours.
My strategy for Inquisition, like the only way I can enjoy it is if I do as few side quests as possible, because the story is like not bad, but the side quests are really boring.
Okay. That's exciting. Ugh. Actually, I have a question. This is sort of out of the blue, but I remembered. Have either of you played Dragon's Dogma?
I have not, no.
That is a game that lives in a weird space between between Skyrim and Dragon Age that I haven't like. Yeah, I've like not loved it so much, but like I've played a few hours of it, but like I was just curious cuz some people fucking love that game and worship it to death, but I don't know. If you want to if you take a look at it, I'm curious if that is the kind of thing Dragon Age fans are looking for.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Also,
might
they
check
made
that
a
out.
terrible anime for it on Netflix recently, so if you want
Of
to watch
course,
that.
I mean that's so they've reached the big leagues.
I love how like the first year, like 10 years ago, like Netflix was making stuff. Like the first few years, it was like, whoa, Netflix made this. This is gonna be fucking amazing. And now, like, it's just like, oh, Netflix made this. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh, oh no.
I know.
All right. Well, yeah. Do you wanna round us out of the? Are we still in this
No,
segment?
we're escaping
Where are we?
Dragon Age, much like EA is going to in about 2 years. So we're done.
Okay. I think that. Okay. Here's the schedule. Winter 2022, December, let's say 10th. Dragon Age 4 is released, and then they announce DLC for it in January, and then Bioware is closed in June after we don't hear anything for
That's
6
quite
months
ambitious.
after about the DLC.
That's
No,
very
that's
ambitious.
optimistic.
That's my guess.
I
my
don't
timeline.
think Dragon Age 4 is going to be out till spring, summer, a year from now.
Yeah.
That's probably that's possible. Cause like they just keep showing fucking concept art and they're like, look at the bald one, he's back.
Yeah,
You
that's
like
what I'm
the
trying to
bald
get
one,
people.
Don't you? Is it they're showing him off just to prove that they actually like are gonna
To prove that this is a game, that there's some concept behind
Like,
this game.
look,
It's not just pictures of dragons
we're
and
not
crystals.
gonna reboot it again this time. We're like actually continuing a story we set up. Aren't you proud of us?
They're trying to prove themselves
Yeah,
so hard.
This game was announced like so early, and it was because like I know BioWare is struggling to prove that they should still exist.
It actually just they are living on borrowed time. I love them to bits, but they are, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean like I've talked to a lot of like BioWare fans, and like they're pretty much all of them are like, yeah, like it's sad, but like the BioWare that I love doesn't exist
It
anymore.
doesn't.
Anyway.
I mean, like the guy
Like-
I've spoken about nonstop in this podcast, David Gator. He wrote so many Bioware games. He doesn't even work for them anymore. I'm fairly sure in that Dragon Age Inquisition was his last game. So many people have left. It's barely the same company anymore, if you could even call it that. So.
Yeah, that's sad. But I guess we'll escape on into our new segment.
Oh.
I was gonna wait for
There
maybe
you
a
go.
reaction.
I'm hyped.
I'll do it again. Into our new segment.
Yeah.
Eh?
God. Okay, so we've been having a lot of fun with our Good Games Inc. thing, so like we'll still do those every so often with audience suggestions, but I also did find a bot that can create game ideas for
Ooh.
us.
Okay.
So I think that's sort of a challenge for us. Like it's gonna give us some stuff to build a game off of, and we need to build something fucking good, okay? So just kind of like usual, but this is coming from a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go and give it a whirl. Let's see here. This is a hidden object and top-down shooter game. Okay.
Okay.
It has 2-button controls. It is set in a medieval world, and it's about a treasure hunt.
Mm-hmm.
This is a top-down shooter in a medieval world. Let's start there.
So
Right,
You gotta
okay.
be shooting magic or throwing axes. You're just gonna need
Yeah.
a lot of axes.
Like a javelin?
Yeah, but you need a lot of them.
Okay, you would need a lot of javelins. I mean, you could do arrows, right? Bows and arrows. There's 2-button controls. So, like, there's move and shoot, right? But how do you find the hidden... Because a hidden object game is what, if I'm thinking right, is like one of those old PC games where you, like, just click on stuff around the room until it's like, you found the magnifying glass, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a hard
So
one.
it's a treasure... Okay, we have another angle we can try this from, because it also alternatively can generate game
Okay.
titles. Let's try one of those. Radical Vigilante Deathmatch.
Radical Vigilante Deathmatch. That doesn't really fit.
Oh wow, it can generate a
Oh my
studio
God,
name
let's do
too.
that, okay.
Solar Storm Interactive. Oh fuck, that's good.
Actually pretty. Yeah, that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this. No, but I think let's try generating a different game. Maybe we started on hard mode. We should have gone easier. Okay, this is a multiplayer game about, and the rules are that there are strength in numbers. It is set in ancient Rome, and the themes are addiction.
Wait, isn't that Fallout New Vegas? I mean,
this is Caesar's Legion, but in regular Rome. This is a multiplayer game where you're all like Roman heathens going to like orgies and stuff, I guess. It's like an MMO.
This is like an alternate ending to New Vegas where the Legion create a time machine and send all the New Vegas residents back to like ancient Rome. And I think that would be a very fun concept for a game. And
then oh wow, they can give you they can generate themes too specifically here. Evolution.
Oh
wow. So there's a lot of generators here. Maybe we should just like plug them all in at the same time. What is star generator? Oh, it just generates the names of stars. Why is that on the same website? I'm learning a lot today. Let's try and get a title, and let's make something out of that instead. I'm just trying to find one that sort of works. Chaos Predator. All right.
You're still stuck on Prey's episode.
Tell me about Chaos Predator.
It's just such a generic name. Like it could already exist. I don't even know what to say.
Like
about it.
it probably does. Have we looked?
Yeah.
This is an Xbox 360 game,
Yeah,
obviously. I think.
Yeah.
How about Escape from the Sunshine Fun?
Escape from the Sunshine Fun. Oh god.
Okay, you're a vampire, and you are trying to run from the sunlight before it gets you, and everyone is having fun, right? In the sun, it's the summer. You're at the beach. You're a vampire at the beach.
Oh my god, white boy summer.
Very white boy summer, pale boy summer. Incredibly white boy summer.
Oh god.
Okay. I'm just testing. So that was one test. So I'm testing some new. Actually, I should really call this segment Spaghetti Time, because what I'm gonna do is basically I'll cycle through a few things, throwing spaghetti at the wall effectively until something really sticks.
That sounds like
and
a
we'll
fun
probably
time.
stay with it
for us. Maybe not.
So this
but you know.
No. This was. Thank you for joining us for Spaghetti Time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Please add meatballs on your own. Bring your own meatballs. Okay, I'm struggling between whether to like what to call this one, because I'm like Escape from the Sunshine Fun is good, but like also I just kind of like call this episode like The Bald One Returns or something.
I love that.
Okay. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and close out. Thank you guys for joining us. We're getting back on our feet. We've had a bit of a weird few weeks here, but we're getting back into it. I think people are responding, just listens wise, people are responding better to more to games, I think, like this, where it's a game that people have heard of but probably not played.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People seem to be really interested in learning about, which is really cool. So I'm glad. But yeah, so we'll be back next week with more video game, and I guess we'll go and close out. So I guess you can find us on Twitter at GameBustersPod. You can find me at Gondeezy on Twitter, and Ree's at Ree_Bevan. Bree, do you have any plugs for anything creatively you're working on related to, maybe something related to shrimp or to Thailand?
Mostly a lot of writing and staring at a computer. But I do hope that, 3 years down the line, I'll see you guys on this podcast again to review Dragon Age 4.
Yeah, here we go. To the next Dragon Age.
In the fall of BioWare.
Jeez.
Oh god.
Okay, great. We'll be back. Watch out, 2072. Mark your calendars for
We'll be
Dragon
there.
Age 4. What happens when BioWare gets shut down before Dragon Age 4 is finished and they export it over to Like what studio is gonna take
I think
over?
anywhere. They just put it on a Google Drive and it's like, there you go.
They put- Can you imagine them being? That's okay. We're laughing, but that's actually what happened with Deltarune.
Yeah, I guess that's within the realm of possibilities.
When Toby Fox like he didn't announce anything. He just put on his Twitter like a link to his Google Drive to an exe file, and people downloaded it, and it was Deltarune.
I would do it.
That's sort of the tier I would put Bioware at now.
Okay, so yeah, you can find us on if you guys have Apple devices, please go ahead and throw us a rating on iTunes with a review. We really appreciate it. That helps us with visibility a lot. And yeah, I guess that's probably about it. Oh, I have a new video. Yeah, you should go watch it. We're playing Code Vein, a bad anime Dark Souls game. You should join us because we do join forces with the Floating Snowman Witch and the Tit Lizard, and we defeat the boss at the end by him falling off a cliff without us interacting with him. So, not a great video game, it turns out. Good character creator though. So yeah, Ree, what are you working on? I know you're in calmer waters now.
Yeah. So right now I do a crap ton of news every weekend for thegamer.com. And recently I did actually do a feature which did pretty damn well, actually, simping the hell out of Dragon Age Origins. So go check that out. Everyone seemed to like that. I didn't expect that.
I think the Dragon Age simps are really vocal. Like, they'll show up.
They do. It's like, I don't see that when I'm scrolling through Twitter. I never just see like a Dragon Age simp in the wild. But if I write something Dragon Age related, they flock, and I appreciate that.
If you build it, they will come.
I appreciate that. You're a dedicated bunch who will be quiet for ages and then suddenly just scream, and that's really fun. So keep doing that.
You know what we should have done? We should have appended one of these game title names to like Dragon Age : and then like
we could have given two its own subtitle, because I guess they didn't have enough time in that like bloody 14 months to come up with a title.
How do you feel about Dragon Age Remote Monster Orchestra?
I mean, yeah.
That's pretty much what it's going to be in it.
That's just what happens if it gets on the Google Drive file. That's the thing.
That's the code name for the project, Remote Monster Orchestra. Oh my god. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us. Bree, I don't know if you want to, you're going to close us out, so you get to kind of like finish with your signature catchphrase that you're always saying. If you want to just go and toss that out.
My signature catchphrase.
Yeah, the one you're always saying, like, every like 7-8 minutes you pop it out.
Oh, yeah. Once I get through today, tomorrow will be better.
Nice.
Okay, that was the worst one we've had. Alright, thank you guys for joining us. Alright. Stopping that and pausing. Spoilers for this fucking ancient ass game.